Hi, I'm Dave Lynnes with Lynnes Welding Training, and today I'm going to show you how to change out a roll of wire, change the drive rolls, and replace the liner in the gun. So this is Lincoln's C300. They have the roll of wire and the drive rolls inside of the cabinet on this particular machine. And what we're going to start with is I'm going to back the wire out of the gun. I don't want to waste this wire, so I'll show you how to back the wire onto the roll. First thing we're going to do is snip the end of the wire and then release the tension on the drive roll. I always hang onto the wire. If you don't hang onto the wire and that gets away from you, it's going to unravel. So be sure to hang onto the wire while you're backing it out, and you can see the wire coming through the drive rolls right here. Okay. There are holes on the side of the roll, so now we're going to tie the wire off to the side so it doesn't unravel. You should go through the hole once and then bend it over. Okay, and then we're going to pull the roll of wire off, push this down, and slide it off. Okay, now we have the roll of wire off. Let's pull the gun off. What we're going to do now is just loosen this up, disconnect the power cable, and pull the gun off. Now let's pull the drive rolls off. You have a wire guide here, so let's loosen this up. To pull the drive roll off, we're going to give this a quarter turn, slide it off. Pull the wire guide off, and then the top drive roll. Okay, now we have everything taken apart. I want to show you how we would replace the liner inside of the gun. So the nozzle is just hand tight, so I'm going to screw the nozzle. Contact tip, I usually just snug that tight, and then the gas diffuser. Okay, and you can see the liner here at the end of the gun. On this end here, you can see the end of the liner, and there's a set screw. So I'm going to loosen up that set screw so we can pull the liner out. You don't have to take it all the way out. Just loosen it up so now we can pull that liner out. I'm going to set the gun down to straighten it out, and then I'm going to pull the liner out. You can see how that's tight. So what I like to do is have someone give me a hand. I'll hang on to this end of the gun, and I'll have Adam hang on to that end, and we'll pull it tight, and then I'm going to pull the liner out. Okay, now that Adam's pulling that tight, it's easy to pull the liner out of it. Okay, I'm going to grab the new liner. Okay, now that we have our new liner, I'm going to start feeding it through, and again I'll ask Adam to hold that tight for me. And as we get close to the end, you can see it's going to start getting a little tougher to push through. And if it hangs up on you, just pull that tight. Like right now, right there, hit a spot, it's getting tight. Okay. So now that we have the liner pushed through, I'm going to hold it tight with my thumb, and then I'm going to retighten the set screw. And I'm going to just snug it up. Snug up that set screw. I can feel a little bit of pressure on the liner. You see that's going to hold it in place. Okay, the new liners are always going to be longer than what you need. So what I do is I take the gas diffuser and I'm just hold it up there, and there's a shoulder inside of this gas diffuser, and we want the liner to go into the gas diffuser up to the shoulder. So I just kind of hold that up there, mark with my finger. We're going to cut it about an inch. We're going to have about an inch of the liner sticking out. And then we put the insulator back on the gas diffuser, and you'll see on the gas diffuser where we have the gas ports, that's where the shielding gas is going to come out. There's not a set screw in this type of with this type of gas diffuser. And then we'll snug up the gas diffuser. I'm not going to put the contact tip on until we run the wire through the gun, so I'm going to hold off on the contact tip. Okay, let's put the gun back on. You're going to see on this end of the gun, we have a couple O-rings, and then we have the gas ports. That's where the shielding gas is going to go into your gun here. Okay, so we want to make sure that we slide that all the way in, and then we're going to snug it up. And tighten this up, so you don't want that to come loose while you're welding. Okay, so make sure you've got that good and tight, and then plug in your power cable. If you forget to plug in the power cable when you go to hit the trigger, you'll notice that the drive rolls will not engage. So make sure the power cable is plugged in. All right. Now let's put the drive rolls back on. First thing I'm going to start with is the wire guide. You'll see that there's an arrow on the wire guide for the direction that the wire will be going through. And then this is a 0.035, 0.045 wire guide. When we put the drive rolls on, these drive rolls are 0.045 and 0.035. Now we're going to be using 0.045 solid wire, so when I put the drive rolls on, I want it to read 0.045 on the outside. We have two different size grooves here for 0.035 and 0.045 wire. Okay, so if we have 0.045 on the outside, slide that on. Give it a quarter turn to lock that drive roll in place. Double check the bottom, 0.045. Slide that on, quarter turn. It's locked in place. And then let's put the wire guide on. Alright. So now we've got the drive rolls and wire guide back on. And now we're going to look at how do we set the tension. On this machine here, it shows us aluminum, flux core, GMAW, wire, MIG, and between 4 to 6 is how much tension we want on there for solid wire. So I'm going to start out with about 5. If you don't have enough pressure, the drive rolls are going to slip, and you're going to wear a flat spot into the wire. If you have too much pressure, you're going to pinch that wire, we might have what's called bird nesting. Okay, so we're going to start out right on 5 there. That should be enough tension. So now we're going to put the roll of wire on, and this is the brake assembly here. And I'm going to show you how to adjust the brake assembly once we have the wire on and we feed it through the gun. You'll see a little peg right here, and I'm going to show you how to line up the roll of wire with that peg. Okay, again, the tag shows us 0.045. It's a solid wire L56. And when we put the roll of wire on with this machine, we have to make sure the wire is feeding off the top, not off the bottom. So you'll see the way the wire is, this way here will be feeding off the top, and if I spun it around this way, it'd be feeding off the bottom. There are some wire feeders out there, you will be feeding it off of the bottom. Okay, so that peg, we're going to line that up with the hole. And then we're going to put the collar back on, and when I push it on the collar, it opens up. When I release it, it'll lock into place. There's a little groove right here on the brake assembly. Slide that on, wiggle a little bit, you'll hear it click into place. Double check it too that it's locked on there. You don't want the roll of wire falling off. Okay, I'm going to turn the machine on now so we can feed the wire through. Again, hang on to the wire. We're going to snip off the end where we bent it. On this machine here we have a cold feed, a wire jog. If your machine does not have one of them, when we feed it through, we'll hit the trigger. So here now I can just get the wire started. Put a little bit of pressure, I can feel it's hitting the drive rolls right now, and then I'm hitting the wire jog. See how it starts feeding through there? If you don't have that wire jog, then you're going to hit the trigger. And you can turn the wire feed speed up if you want to feed the wire through a little bit faster. You can see the wire jog has a higher setting than just pulling the trigger. So we'll get the wire ran through. I can feel a little vibration going through the gun now. And there we have the wire. So if you don't want to waste any wire, I know that it's only a few inches, but we can release this, back it up a little bit. And now we can put our contact tip on. Get it finger tight and then snug it on there. You don't have to crank it on, just snug it on there. Nozzle is going to screw onto the gas diffuser. Here I just hand tighten that, get that tight. And now I want to show you how you set the brake assembly. So if this is too loose, when you let up on the trigger, this roll will keep rolling. You see how it's a little bit looser there? Okay, you can see there, it's moving a little bit too when I let up on the trigger. So I like to tighten it up. This is my way of setting the brake assembly. I know there's other ways of setting this, but I like to tighten up the brake assembly so when I let up on the trigger, the wire will stay tight. I'm going to go a little bit tighter with it. Right there. And now again, I don't want to waste this wire. So I'm going to back it up. Okay. So now we are ready to set the shielding gas. We have the wire in place, we have the tension set on our drive rolls. We're using 0.045 drive rolls. We've got the gun all set up. Now let's get the shielding gas set up. We have a gas purge button right here that we could use for setting the shielding gas. What I'm going to do is release the tension and bring the gun around with me, and I'm going to hit the trigger. I'll show you how to set your flow meter. Okay, we're using a C10 shilling gas that is 90% argon, 10% CO2, referred to as C10. So whenever you hook up a new cylinder, we always want to crack the valve to blow out any dirt that might be inside of the valve. So move it away from you, quickly crack the valve open and then shut it. Okay, now we've blown out any dirt that might be inside the valve. Now we're going to hook up our regulator and flow meter. Okay. We use a 1 1/8" wrench to snug it up. And now I'm going to crack the valve and I'm going to stand off to the side. If the regulator is going to blow, it's going to go forward or backwards. So now I'll stand off to the side, crack your valve. You'll see that the needle just went up on your regulator. And I'll open it all the way. Now that we have the valve open all the way, I'm going to turn the machine on so we can set our flow meter. You'll see a ball floating in here when we hit the trigger. So I want to set it, for what we're going to be doing, I'm going to set it at about 35 CFH. Okay, I just hit the trigger. You see the ball floating up a little bit, but we need a little more pressure. On this regulator right there is about 35 CFH. Now we're ready to start welding. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you'd like some more information about our welding school and the classes that we offer, go to learntoweld.com. Thank you.